Hey, so I'm doing a live stream right now instead of uploading a video today. And the reason I'm doing that is because you guys seem to watch my lives more than my videos, and lives are a lot easier to do because I just sit here and I talk a bunch of shit. Um, I'm really good at that. I don't have to script anything and I don't have to edit anything. I just make a cool thumbnail and we're off to the races. So, I'm doing something new today, which is I am simulcasting to Twitch. The reason I'm on Twitch is because two of my brothers were like, it would be really funny to watch you play video games because you're so bad at it. Because I haven't played a video game since I was like 16. And so uh, they like hooked up the PS5 and they made me play The Last of Us. And apparently it was hilarious. So that we're gonna probably make that a thing. I don't even know how to hold the controller. Literally, the last video game I played was like Super Mario World or something like that. So anyway, I might do that like once a week, and I'll probably rant about fasting while I'm doing it. So that'll be fun for you. Tune in for that. I don't know when it'll be. If you want to follow me on Twitch, my name on there is Fast Carnivore. If you're watching me on Twitch, which is unlikely because I have no followers, and you want to follow me on YouTube, it's Primal Weight Loss. So anyway, okay. So we're going to talk about doing 2 months of 72s, right? So what does that mean? If you're new here, hi, we do a lot of fasting. I lost a whole bunch of weight fasting. And the main way that I lost it was doing back-to-back 72-hour fasts. I did like 20 of those in a row. So 2 months of those. So for a whole month, I only ate 10 times. And I did that 2 months in a row, back to back. And I lost like probably, I don't know, probably like 35 pounds of those 2 months. And then for a third month, I did a 72 and a 96 every week. So I ate 2 meals a week. So the main people that I am talking to right now are people who are pretty obese and have a lot of weight to lose, because it's a good strategy for people who have a lot of weight to lose. It is what got me from like obese, like major obese, to like overweight, right? So if you want to lose a lot of weight quickly, safely, effectively, 72s are your way to do it. You just keep doing them. You eat a meal. First, you need to get into ketosis. I talk about this in all my videos. You get into ketosis by eating really low carb, really high fat, moderate protein. Keep your protein pretty low. You eat that till you're in ketosis. You can buy strips on Amazon to find out if you're in ketosis, or you can just like wait a while till you stop being hungry, and then you're like, oh, I'm not hungry, and then you fast. Start out with shorter fasts, move it on up until you're doing 72s, and then you fast for 72 hours, and then you eat, keep it low carb, and then you repeat until you're not fat. You're welcome. So if you join my Patreon, me and my Patreon subscribers, all the ones that want to do it, I'm doing like a free guided 70 back-to-back 72s clinic. I post in there like every day, answer questions about refeeds, when should I eat, what should I eat, this really sucks. And I'm like, yeah, it really sucks. I totally agree. Yay, we're in this together. Whatever. Okay. It kind of helps to know that other people are like hating life as much as you because you only eat once every 3 days. Actually, I had a great idea for a restaurant. Don't steal this idea. I'll sue you. Um, what if you had like a restaurant just for 72 hours and it was open every 3 days for 1 hour? Yeah. And you could call it the refeed. The name was my sister's idea. I'm not doing the video game today. You're not paying attention. Speaking of, uh, speaking of my sister, so I was like, well, this is actually important. This is something I want to talk about. Okay, for people who are doing this, are doing the Rolling 72s, are curious about the Rolling 72s, and you're thinking, how do I fit that into my life? Well, it depends. Do you have like 20 pounds to lose? 15, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, somewhere like in the lower range like I do? Or are you trying to get not obese? Because that will really depend on how you need to like prioritize, right? So like when I was doing 72s because I was trying to save my own life, I was extremely unhealthy. my blood pressure was high and I was trying to be not obese, I would not let anything interfere. Like, I did this during COVID. I was stuck in an apartment, right, with just a 2-year-old and nowhere to go and nothing to do. And I managed to lose like 100 pounds during that, like before, like in less than a year, because I let nothing get in the way. If you have like 15, 20 to lose, then you can be like a little more relaxed. Like, I had recent blood work where everything is perfect. My fasting insulin is 3.8, which is super low. So like, basically I'm not an insulin resistant person anymore. So I went to Oklahoma for my niece's birthday party and my sister was like, "Hey, do you want a drink?" And I was like, "Yeah." Mainly because me and my sister have like never gotten to hang out for some reason, because we're half sisters and we grew up in different houses. Anyway, it was like a once in a lifetime, oh my God, I get to drink with my sister thing. But cool story though. So I got trashed and it was not purposeful. I forget sometimes that I don't weigh 280 pounds anymore and I cannot drink like a lumberjack. Lumberjacker? Is it lumberjack or lumber? It's lumberjack. Why do I think it's lumberjacker? It's lumberjack. It's lumberjack. Anyway, I can't drink like a lumberjack. And I put away a lot of booze really fast. And I drink too fast because, again, I just forget. I'm like, oh, I'm a huge person. I can just drink. And yeah, I can't. And I was fasting. And so I was just planning to like get a little buzz on with my sister and then not bring my fast. And then what had happened was it's not lumberjacker. I know that now. I know. It's like, it sounds stupid now that I'm thinking about it. I think I did that recently too with my dad on the phone. I said lumberjacker and he was like, "What?" Anyway, I swear to God, I'm smart. So, anyway, so what I did was I got kind of trashed. Now, if you are an obese person, you're in a health crisis, and you're on rolling 72s, that shit needs to be on your calendar, and you're not going to break it for nothing. If somebody offers you $1 million, you'll be like, fuck you, bro. I'm on 72s right now. That's the kind of mindset that you need to have if you're trying to cure obesity. That's the mindset I had, and that's why it worked. Now, if you are at a normal weight, and particularly if you've been maintaining a normal weight for some time, like for me, it's been like, I don't know, 2.5 years, then you could give yourself a little more leeway. You have to be smart about this shit. If you are trying to save your own life right now, if you're one of those people who comments on my videos and you're like, oh my God, I found you at exactly the right time, you know better. You cannot get drunk in a hotel room with your sister. Ani, I'll answer your question in just a moment. Or Annie, I don't know how to say that. I just think Ani because Ani DeFranco, like when I was going through my bisexual hippie phase in college. So yes, I did get trashed with my sister. And, but this is the cool part about it, that I woke up the next morning and I was sick as a dog. I made myself puke. And then when I felt like I could eat, I ate the insides of some sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffins. And I was keto that day. I kept it very high fat, super low, like no carb. And I was fine. 5 years ago, if I woke up that sick, or if I would have been in bed all day. I could not function. But I was literally like driving home from Oklahoma, 2 hours later. So it's pretty cool. I'm more resilient. Um, did you fast during your period? You can. So, like, Dr. Mindy Pels, I've been talking to one of my carnivore friends about this, and like, there's all these rules that you can follow about for like your optimal hormone health for women. And I think that's great. And I might do a video on that at some point. If you're at a normal weight and you're fasting for like maybe to lose 15 pounds or for your health, if you are an obese person, the the smartest thing that you can do for your hormones, in my opinion, is get not obese as quickly as possible, as if you do it safely. So I'm not telling you that you have to completely ignore your cycle, because there are times in my cycle, it's usually like ovulation or right before my period, I get to a point where I'm like, fuck, I can't fast. But when I was obese, that didn't really happen because I had like an extra 100 pounds of body fat to fuel me. Now I get to a point where I'm like, shit, I can't fast more than 24 hours. And it's not a feeling like electrolytes or dizziness or like I feel weak or anything like that. It's just like hunger, 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 like hormone hunger, which if you're a lady, then you probably know what that feels like. I don't know what that means. But yeah, so if you want to look into mini pelts fast like a girl and you're at closer to a normal weight range and you're interested in timing your fasting to your cycle, I think that can be a really cool idea. But again, if you are like trying to get unobese, I think the best thing that you can do for your hormones is to just fast your ass off and get not obese. So if you're interested in doing the rolling 72s with us, we are finishing a month. Actually, because I drank and ate early, I'm actually on a 96 right now, about halfway through a 96. And then we're getting to our last refeed of the month of rolling 72s. That's coming up on February 2nd. So if you want to get in on that with us, you can join my Patreon at any level, and everything on there is free. So like the calendar, there's a calendar if you're already doing this and you want to keep going, or if you're just starting out, there's a calendar that will help you transition into the 72s, because that's really important. If you're just like sitting on the couch eating pizza and you try to just like cut everything and start fasting 72, you're going to have a bad time. Yeah, don't do that. I have a guide like at the beginning of the calendar that tells you, like, you need to, I forget exactly what I put on there. It was based on the time that, the time between whatever day I posted it and the day that our 72 start. But basically, you're going to need to go keto. You're going to need to get into ketosis. And then you can start with fat fasting. Fat fasting will be like when you have some, cream in your coffee, some butter, stuff like that. And then you can move into like an intermittent fast where you're doing like, thank you, where you're doing like, 16 hours fast and then 18 hours fast, and you can try 24. That's what I did, because when I first started fasting back in 2020, I was super scared. My doctor was like, you're really fat, you need to lose weight. And I was like, cool. And so he was like, you need to do keto. And I was like, I know. And he's like, no, but you really need to do it. And hello. And then he was like, you also need to do a 24-hour fast once a week. And I was like, bruh, I can't do that, because I would get sick, even like 4 to 6 hours fasting, I would feel really, really bad, because that's how most of us feel, right? When I keep looking at myself, because I'm like, there's a person to look at, and I need to look at that green dot. It's so unnatural to look at a green dot. Looking at the green dot, sorry. So, yeah, because we're all running on a glucose metabolism. We're all on a blood sugar roller coaster, and we're all told that that's okay. And you need to eat every 3 to 5 hours a day. And can you imagine how many, like, hundreds of thousands of years ago hominids would have gone extinct if we couldn't live without eating every 3 to 5 hours, for fuck's sake? Think about that. It's like an almost daily occurrence at this point, when that I get messages from people, and they're like, so my doctor told me that I need to eat every 3 to 5 hours, and then I need to snack on fruit like apple slices and, pretzels and peanut butter, because it's low fat. It's fucking low fat. And I need to do that, like every 3 to 5 hours, and I need to get 50% of my calories from carbohydrate because I'm diabetic. And I shouldn't, they also tell diabetics don't fast and don't do keto, because doctors, they're fucking stupid about some shit. And so they think ketosis, and they get it mixed up with ketoacidosis. And they're like, oh, that'll kill you if you're diabetic. They're two different things. They're fucking two different things. And like, they don't know how to Google it, I guess. I don't know. It's pretty stupid, and it's really disheartening, because if you keep eating every 3 to 5 hours, carbs every 3 to 5 hours, and you're already diabetic, like, you're going to die. You're going to end up on insulin, and then you're going to do what happens to everybody with insulin. You're going to fucking die from it eventually. You have a sugar problem, and they give you insulin, and now you have an insulin problem. And this is why a lot of type 1 diabetics also end up type 2 at the same time, because they don't make any insulin. So they're type 1, and they are given insulin. They become insulin resistant, and now they have type 1 and type 2 at the same time. So they're just fucked. And what's the cure? Stop eating carbs. It's so easy. Before the 20th century, or in the early 20th century as well, there was no such thing as like injectable insulin that you can go get from the pharmacy. So if you were diabetic and you ate carbs, you would die. So the prescription was to stop eating carbs. And everybody knew this. And somehow we forgot it conveniently. And at the same time, the rise of the snack food and sugar industry and the rise of diabetic medications and fucking injectable insulin, right? Surely a coincidence. Surely. And I'm sure no one's making a lot of money off of that at all. Right. So we're going to continue with 72s. Honeybee says doctors do the same here in Europe. Yeah, well, that sucks. Parts of Europe are catching up with the United States as far as obesity. Last time I checked, the statistic was that like 70% of adults in the U.S. are either overweight or obese. 70%. So it's so funny. Like the average body size now is not average. You can't say, "Oh, I'm just average size," because average now is overweight. I actually read a couple years ago, and I don't know if this has changed. I think this was in like 2020 or something, but I read that the average American woman was just under 5'4" and weighed 170 pounds, which would be a BMI of 30, which is just into the obese, whatever you call it, thingy, right? So doctors do the same everywhere. It's how they make money, right? So, and this is a big problem with nutrition science, because who funds the studies? And when universities run the studies, who's donating to the university? Like, there's actually a really interesting, I'm trying to remember what book it was in. I think it was in The Big Fat Surprise, or maybe Gary Taubes' book. I don't remember, but there was like he or she wrote a lot about the Mediterranean diet and how that came about. And it turns out the Mediterranean diet, which told you to eat like lean meat and a lot of olive oil and a lot of vegetables and like some whole grains, and it's semi-low carb, but it still tells you to avoid saturated fat and stuff like that. Not to eat red meat, to eat fish and chicken, all that shit. That was funded in large part by the olive oil industry. And they would take doctors and journalists and shit on these beautiful, expensive vacations to Italy and give them all this amazing food. Like olive oil, drenched in olive oil and all this shit, in Tuscany, and they're fucking partying, drinking red wine, and they would come back and write glowing reviews of the Mediterranean diet. So you have to be careful. Jason Fung talks about this, and he's in medical industry as a physician, and he sees how the physicians are like there's a shit ton of conflict of interest, a shit ton. I've actually posted that video on my Facebook, and I need to post it again. Jimmy, looking forward to the next 72s. I lost 26 pounds this month. Slipped a couple of times, but stayed with it. Fantastic, Jimmy. That's awesome. Jimmy, I forget how much weight you've lost at this point, but I think it's like 200 and something pounds. Jimmy has a similar story to mine in that he plateaued on carnivore. Like, the carnivore cult, and don't get me wrong, I think there's a lot of good to carnivore diet, especially for things like gut healing and for breaking food addiction. I think that it's great to consider carnivore and work it in and use it as a tool because of all of the anti-meat, anti-red meat, anti-saturated fat propaganda. So I think that we need to, think critically about those claims, but we also need to think critically about carnivore, because unfortunately some of the carnivore people do this like carnivore is the be all end all of everything, and all you need to do is just eat meat and not worry about anything else, fuck it. And that has been their sort of, a lot of them, not all of them, but since I joined the zeroing in on health forum, before there was even a Facebook grew, like Facebook was barely a thing. I joined in like 2009 and I went carnivore in 2010. And I was on and off strict carnivore, mostly on for like 10 years. And I plateaued at 220. I went from 293 to 220. And then no matter how long I would stay strict carnivore, I would just never go below 220. I'm 5'7", which is still like very obese, right? So like, um, carnivore is not the end of it. Like, there's a few problems with carnivore. One problem is that you could still be getting a lot of linoleic acid, which is obesogenic. And I talk about polyunsaturated fats in other videos. And if I start talking about PUFAs in this video, then it'll be like an 80-minute video because it's a really complicated topic. But that's one of the problems, is that you could be eating a lot of pork and chicken. You could be getting a lot of linoleic acid, and that might be part of your problem. Another big problem is that you could be overeating protein. And when you eat excess protein in one sitting, it gets converted to glycogen in your liver. So you might as well have eaten carbs, right? And then another problem is that you could just be eating fucking too often, right? Like, if you're not controlling your eating frequency, you still could be eating too much too often and keep it, everybody's insulin threshold is different. Some people may have a tiny insulin response to eating some beef, and some people may have more. Until someone invents the continuous insulin monitor, we don't know. What we do know is that in the presence of insulin, you can't burn fat. So if you're spiking your insulin just from eating like a bunch of beef, then you're not going to burn fat, Or you might burn fat, but you're only going to burn the fat you just ate, because you ate so much that you never get around to burning your body fat. You can still eat too much if you're eating meat. And these fucking carnivore people will be like, just eat more. They literally will tell people that. And I left the group because if I go in there and I say the word fasting, a moderator will just pop up immediately and be like, you can't say that. And if I keep going, they'll just ban you. So they were so mad at everybody for so many years for being, for mainstream nutrition, for blocking them, because the low carb communities would be like, carnivores are too extreme. And they would get blocked and banned. And they would be like, it's not fair. Just let us speak. And now you try to say something about fasting and they're like, how dare you? These people just need to eat more meat. So, Jimmy brings up another interesting thing, which is that he slipped up a couple times and he still lost 26 pounds, right? So you slip up, who cares? The problem with slipping up is when you let it fuck you up mentally and then you just spiral. And then you just spiral and you keep going because you're like, fuck it, I hate myself and I messed up. And so I'm just going to eat, a bag of fucking Cheetos today. If you keep it under control, if you're able to control your mental response to it, you'll realize that, like, okay, this was one fuck up and I can keep doing these. Like, you literally have not failed until you've quit. You have not failed until you've quit. So like, I've got people who get discouraged and drop out really quickly. And then I've got the people who are able to say, okay, I messed up and I'm going to keep going. Fuck it. Those are the people who end up being successful. I will also say that I've noticed the people who end up being successful are the people who learn a lot and don't just expect me to tell them what to do. The people who are always like, what's keto again? Or like, hey, is this low carb or not? Like, if you don't have the like commitment and energy and dedication to even Google some shit, if you Google keto grocery list or low carb food list or anything like that, you're going to get millions of perfectly fine responses. There are so many resources. If you have to message me and be like, remind me, are beans carbs? You're fucking lazy. You just want somebody else to do the work and thinking for you. This is why I do what I do and talk about these things on like YouTube instead of being a private coach, because I want to be able to give this information to everybody, first of all, and not just people who can afford a private coach. And two, because like if you can learn the principles behind it, if you can learn how carbs spike your insulin, and then when insulin is around you can't burn fat, then you can understand the principles and then you could come up with your own grocery list, right? Over time of looking at it and being like, oh yeah, these are the carby foods and I need to stay away from them, and starchy vegetables are really not that good for me. Like I should save sweet potatoes for my cheat meal, right? Stuff like that. Um, if you can learn the principles, it's like the teach a man to fish thing. You give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. You teach a man to fish and he'll eat for a lifetime. I teach you the principles behind why low carb, keto, carnivore, fasting, why these things work. It's all about insulin. It's all about your hormones. When you understand those principles, then you never need me again. Onto keto, OMAD, and we'll move into back-to-back 72s. But today I had to overeat fruit to help me with the constipation that I was going through. It happens sometimes, constipation. You don't have to overeat fruit. You can eat some more fat. Um, you need more fat if you're having constipation, and magnesium will help. Fruit is going to mess you up. Fruit is going to, especially overeating fruit, especially if you're trying to lose weight, bad idea, very bad idea. Constipation as well as diarrhea and transitions, these are very common problems. Do not turn to fruit. Fiber is the worst thing you can do. There's actually a study that Paul Saladino talks about in his book, The Carnivore Code, where people with idiopathic constipation on a zero fiber diet, 100% of the participants in the study healed their constipation completely. It's this vicious cycle. You need fiber to move fiber, and then you need more fiber to move that fiber. You stop eating fiber completely, and you're fine. High fiber diets are very gut damaging, especially over time. This is why old people who eat standard American diet end up with wasting, right? They get super skinny when they get old because their colon can't absorb nutrients anymore. It's so scarred from a lifetime of fiber. And what do we tell them to do when they can't poop? Eat more fiber. It's the worst thing you can do. So eat more fat, butter, cream cheese, sour cream, cut all starch, and you will shit like a champ. There's often some kind of pooping transition period for people. It happened to me when I went carnivore. I think I went like 10 days without pooping. But I wasn't constipated. My body was like not making all of that waste anymore because I wasn't eating all of that fiber. So, yeah, pretty much just like with a lot of things, just like with saturated fat, whatever the mainstream tells you about fiber, it's the opposite is true. And if you're interested in gut healing, there's a really great website called, I think it's called MeatRx. That's Dr. Sean Baker's website. And the cool thing about MeatRx is that you can actually search for conditions and see testimonials from people who healed those conditions with carnivore eating. Another really, really great website that I recommend to everyone for all purposes is Diagnosis Diet. This is another physician. This is Dr. Georgia Eid. And she just kind of like parses nutrition science, looks at the studies and is like, this is what it actually means. And she puts together all of the research and kind of gives you a bird's eye view of what the actual studies really tell us. And she was just co-author of a study recently on keto for, I believe it was bipolar and depression. I could be wrong. Pretty sure bipolar was one of them, and how effective uh, keto is at treating those conditions. As a matter of fact, Amber O'Hearn, who's really vocal on Twitter, I think she was on the forum zeroing in on health back when I was on there. She has been carnivore for many years, and she healed bipolar 2 doing that. So, yeah, constipation happens. Don't eat fruit, eat fat. If you get the diarrhea, kind of opposite thing, you can cut back on the fat a little bit. And it's not actually technically diarrhea until you have 3 or more of those diarrhea poops in a day. So it's usually just like 1 or 2, and then you are okay, right? Maybe until the next time you eat, you'll adjust. You'll adjust. Human beings are so adaptable. That's what's amazing about us. That's why we're omnivores, even though we're actually designed to eat meat. It's really amazing. Like, I remember when I stopped having sweetener in my coffee, and it was like, oh my God, I'm going to die, because my coffee with cream and Splenda was like, it's why I woke up in the morning. And when I stopped the Splenda, I was just doing the cream for like a week. I was like, this sucks. And now coffee with cream. Like, I can't imagine a better treat. It has the same place in my mind as the coffee with cream and Splenda used to have. And so, like, your brain will reset your reward center, and different things will start seeming like a reward, right? So, like, I'm 43, I'll be 44 in August. And this is the thing that I've learned maybe above everything else. I can hack anything. I can hack anything. It's so funny when I look back at the 2 months that I was on 72s back to back. I don't remember how bad it hurt. I kind of remember the first night because for some reason I tortured myself by sitting there watching recipe videos on Pinterest. Like, why the fuck would I do that? But when I look back at that time, what I actually remember is the joy of looking in the mirror and being like, oh my God, it's working. My dream is coming true. I'm actually going to be not fat. I'm actually getting not fat. This works. I'm not dying. I'm not sick from it. I can literally just not eat for 72 hours and the fat's going away. Oh my God. That's what I remember. I don't remember the pain, you know? I just adapted to it. The first one was hard. The second one was kind of hard. The 3rd through 20th were like, meh. There were hard moments. Ghrelin goes like this, your hunger hormone. It peaks and valleys and peaks and valleys. And as you go through a fast, the valleys get lower. So it comes back less and less. Your hunger will last like 10 minutes. Drink some water, drink some snake juice. I'm actually gonna do a snake juice shot video because I've been doing the snake juice shots and I'm still alive, so I guess they're working. Yes, I'm extremely old and grizzled. Thank you. I'm 10,000 years older than dirt, as my dad likes to say. Okay, well, I think that this has been long enough today. I tried to go a little longer since I'm doing this instead of a video this week. But even though I could keep talking, I'm sure that you're all tired of listening to me ramble. If you have ideas for videos, if you have questions, please post them. I love you too. I am trying to. I'm trying to reply to everyone on YouTube. I can't do that for everyone. Across all platforms, but if you leave me a comment on YouTube, I will respond. I'm also starting a new thing where if you, you're welcome, Sue. I'm also starting a new thing where if you join my Patreon as a VIP, that's the $25 level, you already get 4 pieces of merch throughout your first year. You get a sticker, a mug, a t-shirt, and a long sleeve shirt. I designed them all. The t-shirt is bomb. It says, ask me about not eating. The coffee mug says not eating today. I actually want to get one for myself. I'm probably just going to buy one for myself. Or subscribe to myself. That would be hilarious. Anyway, I'm starting to do a monthly live Q&A with my VIPs. Right now, I only have one. I am going to just get with her and see when is a good time for her. But if I get some more, then I'll try to coordinate with everyone's schedules. I probably won't be able to do that if I get a whole bunch. But so if you subscribe with the $25 level, on top of everything that all the other subscribers get and your merch, you will also get a live Q&A with me monthly where I will answer whatever questions you have for like an hour. It'll be just like a coaching session in a small group, or for right now, it'll just be like one person. My girl Natalie, what's up, Natalie? She's my one VIP. We're gonna have a good time, me and Natalie. Anyway, I'm gonna be doing that. So patreon.com/primalweightloss. If you want to follow me on Twitch and watch my gaming live streams, which should be hilarious. If you want to watch me get really upset by not knowing how to reload my ammo or turn around with my controller, twitch.tv/fast carnivore. I'm on Twitter, fast carnivore. I'm on Instagram, carnivore Kristen. And if you need to email me and tell me like your whole life story from the stork, dumbass, then you can email me fastcarnivore@gmail.com. If you have suggestions for videos, if you have shit you want me to talk about, if you just need to like send me an email and cry about your life, I also get those, and it's fine. We all need that from time to time. And by the way, I want to say thank you to my Patreon subscribers because I had a lady contact me, and I'm not going to name her name or any details because I want to respect her privacy, but she is currently homeless, and she really needs help. And I'm going to do a phone consult with her today for free. And I'm able to do that because of the people who subscribe. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. That's it for today. I'll see you guys next time. I love you all so much. I mean, some of you probably suck, but theoretically, I love you all. Bye.